Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to the Reading Masterclass prepared by the OET Education team. Whether you're here to find out more about the test or to get tips about improving your reading skills, there will be something for everyone. Each masterclass covers 3 main sections: the format of the test, tips to help you prepare before the test, and how to succeed on test day. At the end are a few slides about where to go for more support after you've watched the masterclass. The reading test is the same for all health professions. It is the second test on test day and lasts 60 minutes in total. It has 3 parts: Part A, B, and C. Part A includes a number of tasks. It includes 4 short texts, which together are around 650 words in length. It lasts 15 minutes and is completed separately to Parts B and C. Part B is a multiple choice task. It includes 6 short texts with 1 question per text. Each text is around 100 to 150 words in length. It is completed within the 45 minutes test time for Parts B and C. Part C is also a multiple choice task. It includes 2 longer texts, which are each between 750 to 850 words in length. It is completed within the 45 minutes test time for Parts B and C. Each part of the test has a different testing focus. Part A is testing that you can skim and scan texts for information. Part B tests a range of reading skills, including reading for gist, purpose, main points, and detail. Part C also tests a range of reading skills, including reading for inference, attitude, and opinion. Each reading test will have the same number of questions. Part A has 20 questions about 4 texts. Part B has 6 multiple choice questions to answer, 1 per text. Part C has 16 questions to answer, 8 per text. Each question is weighted equally, meaning your overall score is calculated out of 42 marks. The texts you read in Reading Part A are workplace texts, which you might need to consult while treating a patient. You might read treatment protocols, medication information, treatment paths, or diagnosis tools, for example. To prepare for Reading Part A, you need to practice reading for details in workplace texts in English. You may be able to do this by reading similar texts at work. In addition, to specifically develop the reading skills for Part A, you can do some of the following. Set your device controls and menus to English. Read timetables and restaurant menus in English, and use an English dictionary while studying. These will all increase the amount of English you are skimming and scanning every day. Another way of improving your scanning skills is to complete word searches. They can include any words. They can train your brain to scan all over the text rather than starting at the beginning and reading the information in order. When completing a word search, notice what makes the word different from others. Does it contain unusual letters, such as X, Z, or J? Does it contain double letters, such as double S, double P, or double L? Does it contain unusual letter combinations? For example, UA, OI, PH. Rather than scanning to find the beginning of the word, Scan for these unusual features and train your eyes to find the words more quickly as a result. Let's look at a sample question for reading Part A. Read the question carefully to understand the information they provide. In these examples, part of the question provides the type of information you are looking for, and part of the question provides details to help you locate the answer, to help you identify which text you should look at to find the information. So here you can see the details are provided next to the answer. So if a patient is allergic to morphine, you should use fentanyl. And in the other question, where details were given about what to do if the pain is severe and unrelieved by various treatments, the answer would be to consider compartment syndrome. The texts you read in Reading Part B are also workplace texts. They are short texts, so may not be the whole text as it was originally produced, but will contain all the information you need to answer the question. You might read an update, a policy document, memos or emails, or guidelines, for example. They are typical types of workplace communication between colleagues. To prepare for Reading Part B, you need to practice reading for the main idea in short healthcare texts in English. You may be able to do this by reading workplace documentation you already have access to at work. Alternatively, you can read online healthcare articles, or even types of information found on notice boards in waiting rooms at a doctor's or dental practice, for example. In this example from an online article about correct identification procedures for patients, the article is broken down into small sections under subheadings. This is excellent practice as you can read each section and then pause to decide what was the main point being made. Let's look at a sample Part B question. Each question starts with a context statement to help you understand what the purpose of the text is. The question context is clearly provided at the start. It's important to read the answer options carefully and to understand the information each one gives you. The differences are significant in helping you choose the correct option. In this example, the action is provided in a verb phrase and the detail of the action is in a noun phrase. You can then look out for these differences as you read. While reading, make sure to read all the text to check whether an answer is correct or incorrect. In this example, the information on lines 3 and 4 appear to show that option A is incorrect. By continuing to read and noticing the word however, you can understand that this is actually the correct answer. As well as reading to find out which answer is correct, it's also good to notice evidence which proves the other options are wrong. In this example, costs are mentioned, but in a different way to Part B. There is no mention of change to treatment. This answer option is less clear. The meaning of an answer option is not directly provided in the text. Instead, it can be inferred, understood from the meaning created by a combination of words. In this example, ineffective treatments can be inferred to mean the same as alternative to medication, but the text says this should be minimized or avoided rather than recommended, which provides the evidence that C is wrong. The two longer texts you read in Reading Part C are on general healthcare topics and are likely to be in an article format. They may not be the whole of an article, but will contain all the information needed to answer the questions. To prepare for reading Part C, you need to practice reading for the writer's perspective in English. The test's texts will include a number of different opinions, so reading texts which are more opinionated than factual will be good practice. Other types of text that will be good to read regularly are journals from your professional regulatory body and review articles on recent research papers. While you read longer articles, such as this one from the Journal of Nutrition, you are training your brain to concentrate for longer. You will also learn strategies to deal with unfamiliar words. This will be important for the test, as it is likely the text will include words you don't know. Don't be tempted to check the meaning of words in your dictionary while you read. Underline them, make a guess at the meaning, and check at the end if you were correct. In this example, there are 3 types of words. These first 2 words are words which would be good to record in a vocabulary notebook, as they can be applied across many different contexts. These second 3 are less familiar and are good to record for general information. The last 2 are not worth recording, as these are specific to this context only or not common enough. Select 6 to 8 words from the words that you have recorded to learn every day. Let's look at some sample questions for listening Part C. In each text, 2 questions will be linguistic questions, as in these examples. One may focus on the meaning provided by a reference word, such as it, there, they, and the other may be the impact on the meaning of a sentence by the use of a word or phrase. It's important to understand these questions and not testing your understanding of the definition of the word or phrase, but the meaning created in the sentence by using this word or phrase. Understanding the information provided in the answer options is essential. This means more than understanding the individual words, but the meaning created by them. In this example, part of each option is a noun phrase, and the rest of the answer provides qualifying information about this phrase. The meaning of A can be said to how good X is at Y, where X is adenosine and Y is making someone sleepy. We can see the meaning of the other answer options here. By summarizing each option down to its main points in this way, you are not only making it clearer for yourself to find the information to support or deny each option, but also to understand the differences between them. Like reading Part B, each question will be clearly introduced, so it won't be difficult to locate the section of text you need to focus on to answer each question. It's important to check that all parts of the answer option are included before you select that option as being correct. In this example, we can see that the simultaneous production is explained by the use of as and so do. It's not enough just to check that the information in the option is included. It must also answer the question, which is what impressed Bob McCarley. This meaning is inferred by the phrase cleverly designed. It's another example where you need to understand the meaning created by the words together rather than the simple definition of individual words. In this question, this is what makes the other answer options incorrect. They are all mentioned within the text, so in that respect are no different to option C. But the significant difference is that they are presented as facts, results of findings, but without any opinion from Bob McCarley. We cannot understand that he is impressed by these, therefore. To summarize, the best ways to prepare for reading are: read a variety of texts on a variety of healthcare topics. Don't be tempted to read with your dictionary. You need to train yourself to deal with unfamiliar vocabulary and texts, so checking words as you read won't help you to do this. Save the dictionary for after you have finished reading, and use an English dictionary to look up unknown words. Do complete official practice tests so that you are familiar with the format of the reading test, but also spend time to improve your reading skills using the ideas presented in this masterclass. This will make the most noticeable difference to your score on test day. Develop strategies for time management. Do some practice reading tasks using a clock for reading Part A. Learn to split your time for reading Parts B and C, so you spend enough time on each task. To make sure you get the best possible result on test day, here are some final tips for reading Part A. At the start of the time, quickly glance at the 4 texts to understand the topic and to get an idea of the differences in content between them. Use this information to help you answer the first section of questions, matching information to one of the texts. This section is designed to orientate you to the contents of the text and introduce some key vocabulary. Then do section 2, followed by section 3. Make sure you copy the answers accurately from the text. All the answers can be copied exactly as they are in the test, and you will be penalised for spelling mistakes. Don't be too worried about the time. Work slowly and steadily through the questions. Skip anything you can't answer quickly, but you should have time to go back and add an answer at the end. In reading Part B, use the context heading to understand the type and purpose of each text. Read the 3 answer options carefully and notice the differences between them. Maybe underline words you feel important if that helps. Check the text for all of the answers. You should be able to find evidence for why one answer is correct and the others are wrong. Remember, all parts of the answer option must be covered by the text. Manage your time, as the 45 minutes is for both parts B and C. You probably want to move on from part B after 10 minutes to leave 35 minutes for part C. In reading part C, remember the questions move sequentially through the text. You will not need to return to earlier content to answer subsequent questions. Read the question and 4 answer options carefully. Remember, it's more than just understanding the definition of individual words, but also the meaning created by these words in combination. If you can't answer a question relatively quickly, or you find some types of questions easier, don't waste time on one you are finding difficult. Move on and come back to it later. You do not need to have to get a previous question correct to get the next one correct. If you found one question difficult, don't let it distract you. Forget it and move on. Manage your time to leave an equal amount of time per text. Ideally, you will have around 35 minutes for both texts, which includes some time at the end to return to any unanswered questions at the end. This masterclass on reading is available on demand, so you can watch it as many times as you like. For further ways to prepare for the reading test, visit the OET preparation portal for sample tests, tips and strategies. Join us for our twice-monthly Facebook Live question and answer sessions. Ask an OET expert for their advice with your preparation questions. Improve your general reading skills by enrolling on an OET preparation course. We recommend our premium preparation course providers who have been endorsed by OET for offering high-quality courses to candidates. Contact them directly to discuss your situation and goal. If there is not one local to you, some of them offer online options. Thank you for listening and good luck with your preparation. Prepare now for success later.